Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Health and Hot Mamas. I am one of your program hosts, Joe Tierney, and I'm here with my partner, Courtney Groves. How are you, Courtney? Well, first, before you answer, I want to apologize to everyone for being late. We had technical difficulties all over the place, so here we are. So how are you, Court?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're into the second episode of the new year, so we're off to a great start. It's exciting. It's exciting to be back again this week. So jump in. Tell me about your celebrations for the week.
So I had a pretty uneventful week, but I think that's probably a good thing. You know, after the holidays, it's good to wind down and kind of relax and get back into your routine. So I am back on track with my regular routine, and it just feels really good, to be back to normal after all the busyness of the holidays.
So perfect. I'm going to adjust my camera for a second. So I agree. It's great to be back on track. I have a lot going on in my life, of course. You know, I'm going to be transitioning to a new job. I was sick right after Christmas, so it's great to be back. I've been doing pretty well myself in regard to being back on my routine, back at the gym and back doing some cardio at home. So Kimberly's joining us, saying, hello, ladies. I'm not watching from Target. She is watching while playing Gigi. So that's exciting. The other thing I have to celebrate is my Christmas decorations are down. It took me forever to put them up, and I said I'm not going to do the same thing. We had a deep freeze here in the Northeast, so I did not get all of my outside decorations down, but I got the ones that I thought would be frozen into the ground forever. So I did make some progress there. So that I always like to do that, once the holidays are over. Sometimes, my son is like a Christmas fanatic. I've kept them up till he's asked me a few years to keep them up until his birthday, which is February 27th. Luckily, I don't have to do that anymore, but that's something I'm looking forward to. What else? I think surviving the bitter cold, that we did survive that. So that's exciting. Yesterday, I think it was a high of 7 and it was a high of 7. And so that was good. And what else? I just reconnected with some friends this week that I hadn't spoken to in a while. So that's always enjoyable. So Kimberly is saying that, Courtney, the girls are waving to you. Gigi has Courtney's children. So that's exciting. Equally exciting for me is the hair is 10 out of 10 tonight. And this is my friend Erin who's tuning in, and her wife Becca, and her son Ryan has the phone. So thank you. Thanks for the compliments. I'll take them. Start the new year off with some compliments. I love it. So besides that, our quote of the month is, if you think something nice about someone, please tell them. It's the easiest way to spread positivity in the world. So did you have an opportunity to do that this week, Court?
I did. I think I have gone out of my way to tell the people around me, how much I appreciate them and, how much I love them. I think, you kind of sometimes get into a routine and you forget to tell the people that you love that you actually do love them. And I think it is nice to hear that. So I think it's really important to, when you have a good thought like that pop into your head, you got to say it out loud, because no one knows what you're thinking, obviously.
I agree. And I think people are so quick to tell you the negative things. And Erin and I can attest to that firsthand. I mean, we're surrounded by a lot of negativity in our professional environment. And I think that we are both positive people. That's what really bonded us together in our friendship. And I'm going to talk about friends in a little bit. That's part of my Tierney's tidbit. So I'm certainly glad Erin is here tonight. And I think that, again, that we are meant to, particularly as women, and I know Erin's passionate about this as well, that we should be uplifting other women. And I think that so often, especially when relationships go awry, women will show hatred toward one another and really take the male out of the equation. I don't know if you've ever seen that, and if a male is talking to another woman, and it may happen in male relationships or female relationships, but I see it all the time in heterosexual relationships where the woman takes the accountability away from the man and either blames herself or another woman. So I think that we should be out here in the world uplifting other women, and I try to do that as often as I can. And I can't recall exactly. I did get some compliments this week. I gave a couple, told people that I thought their hair looked pretty, their outfits looked pretty, and I will say that I'm fortunate to see Erin every day, and I will give her a shout out. Her entire wardrobe this week I thought was on point. She was styling this week, so I'll throw that out there in an impromptu compliment. So that's perfect. Then what's our other topic, our topic of the year. That's our topic of the month. Our topic of the year is 2022 is the year of you. And we're not speaking about resolutions, but what are our goals, plans, and ideas for how to up-level our life in 2022? So for me, I'm going to start this one out because I'll give you a minute to think about your response for it. But I am trying to relax without guilt. I'm constantly, and I think that you can attest to me, I am constantly doing something. I have very little downtime. I'm constantly on the go. But this week I actually sat down. I watched a few movies. I'm kind of getting into a couple of shows. I'm watching the new and I think I'm not going to get the title exactly right. And Just Like That, it's the spinoff of the Sex and the City saga. And it's very poignant. I think that for anybody who'd watched that show growing up, it makes you feel very ancient. The ladies are coming into their own, but I think they're trying to age gracefully, and they're trying to make that portrayal that they're not perfect, and they're not, and they're beautiful in the vein that they are in. But I think it also makes me ages me a little bit. I feel a little bit old. So it's a sentimental journey, and it's not a perfect, there's been some negativity based on it, but it's certainly something I'm enjoying. So I'm taking time to watch that. I've been on the treadmill and I watched a couple movies. I also watched The Age of Adeline. I enjoyed that, so I'm doing that. I will have a treat. I have been indulging myself. I'm very good on track in regard to my diet and exercise, but I have been rewarding myself. I'm not, well, usually I go crazy and I limit, I'm really strict and extreme, but I decided not to do that going into the new year. So I'll have some candy kisses. I had some right before we went on air. I'm very big into my skincare routine again. I try not to miss that. I'm also very, I'm always been very concentrating. I slack off a little bit, but my dental hygiene, I'm on top of. Of course, I always brush my teeth, but I'm taking some extra measures. I floss like crazy many times a day. I'm a fanatic about it, but I've been using some dental rinses and making sure I take fluoride at night. So I've been kind of on top of my game there. And the other thing is I've been listening to music more. I oftentimes have put that on the back burner. And my other goal is I have committed to doing one thing a day to further my professional goals, even if it's only for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour. So that's my 2022 is the year of me, and it's the year of you. So tell me what you've been working on for that topic.
Yeah, I love yours. I think you have given me a little bit of inspiration about what I want to do also. But for me, I think I just want to do more things. I want to be more present. I feel like a lot of the time I am always worried about what's next, like what's coming next, what am I doing next? But that's one thing I'm focusing on this year is just, being present in the moment. And also, I have 2 really small kids, and I think when I became a mom, I kind of lost who I was. And this year I want to do more things that I enjoy, not you know, not only just identify as a mom. So
That's
that's what I'm going to
I
work on
think
this year.
I think that's very important, and I think that that's something that women often forget. And so Justin is saying, I'm so zen. Justin, I'm actually so not, but thank you. But I can fake it, but I'm not as zen as you might think. I certainly have my uptight moments. Kimberly saying, I've watched one movie this week on the top 100 movies, and I bought TheraBreath rinse, and she loves it. That's exciting. And this is something we're going to get to, Justin. Justin is saying Bob Saget is a legend and he will be missed. And that's a topic that actually I'm going to cover in Tierney's Tidbits, so stay tuned. But I certainly want to acknowledge your comment. That's certainly something I want to acknowledge this week. That's a big loss, certainly, in the community. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I also wanted to update everybody on my gua sha-ing. I have done it. I do like it. And I'm I've only done it a couple times this week, and I like it. And I'm trying all these new things with the skincare. So I don't know, I have today, my skin looked great, but I had a little bit of redness on my skin. So I'm not sure if it was from the gua sha or some of the new, or just too much at once. So I'm going to test it out now. I think I was doing too much at once. I'm going to do the gua sha and then the skincare routine. And I'm going to do it a little bit at a time. Cause I'm also using a lightening cream, for some of the freckle spots that I don't like in the winter. So I'm doing a lot, and I'm trying out some new foundations. I got what's the name of my package that I got, Court? Ipsy?
Oh, the Ipsy bag. Yep.
Yep. So I got my first Ipsy bag today. I haven't really gotten to check it out. When they say samples, I do want to say in full disclosure, they are samples, very tiny. I think there's a bronzer that seemed to be a little bit bigger, but a lip balm. I got a lip balm. I saw that. It's more like almost a lip mask, I think it said. So very tiny. A little bit of concealer. So I'll try that out. And I think the other thing was a bronzer. But I'm looking forward to. So thank you for that suggestion, Court.
You're welcome.
So now I forgot where we were. Oh, the year of you. You talked about yours. So then let's jump right into our topic of the week, which is fashion finds. What did you find out?
So I did a little searching on TikTok to see what the fashion trends are. Definitely bold prints and colors are trending right now. I am more of a neutral person, so I don't know how crazy I would get with the bold prints and colors, but I did wear a print today in honor of our fashion finds segment. A couple people on TikTok have made fashion predictions for this year. So some of the predictions are ballet pumps with leg warmers. I don't know if I will be trying that. Opera
I know
gloves.
I will not be.
Opera gloves and oh my goth. So a lot of the goth trends are coming back, which I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if I can pull off most of them, but I like the boots, and I like the I love black, so maybe I would try out a couple of those things.
So I can say that I will be trying none of those things. I cannot pull off goth. I do like black too, but I think that the whole goth thing, maybe I could pull off. I do like the clothing, but I could not pull off the makeup and the hair that goes with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, I do like the clothes. So I've been looking at, of course, as I've told everybody, I'm crazy about Justin saying ballet. Wow, the ballet shoes. I can't even imagine that. I will say something I saw this week, and I was trying to see if it was real or not, because I'm torn. I have a love-hate relationship with Crocs, and it's funny. My sons wore Crocs like crazy, really, until they were probably in their teen years. They don't wear them anymore. But I saw high-heeled Crocs this week. I don't know if they're true or not, and I mean the traditional Crocs. I have like Croc wedges that just look like regular sandals, and I have regular sandals, not the traditional Crocs with the holes, but these were actually high-heeled Crocs with the holes, the classic Croc with a heel on it. So I'm not sure if they're real or not, but that would be interesting to find out, because Crocs actually, and I'm gonna date myself again, but many people suffer with plantar fasciitis. I'm one of those people, and I'm in recovery, remission, whatever you want to say. I really had it once for an entire year, and now I'm rarely barefoot, and I'm going off topic, but I'm rarely barefoot. But I want to tell people that Crocs are one of the shoes that really helped help me overcome that plantar fasciitis. So, and I don't wear the traditional ones, but the sandals and the wedges, the regular ones, they really are a supportive shoe. So I'm going to throw that out there. That's not my fashion trend, but so my fashion trend is, I spoke a little bit last week. Of course, I'm obsessed with TikTok. The cat suits. I won't be trying the cat suit. The chain belt isn't for me either. But I have seen, and I don't know if anybody else has seen it, and I do like the shackets, which are like a shirt and a jacket. And so I've seen it, very trendy. Many women are shopping actually in the men's section and picking up the shackets there, because they said that they have a better variety and they're cozier. So I like that idea. And many people are talking, some of the people on TikTok are speaking about, buying their clothes at Walmart's, and I do as well at Walmart. I buy some things there. If I like something, I pick it up, but they got the shacket there, and I looked for it last night, but of course I didn't see it, but because it's probably sold out now. But don't ever pigeonhole yourself into a certain brand, or especially when it's a name brand, when you can get something of equal quality anywhere. Target, shout out Target for Kimberly, Walmart, wherever you find it, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. There are tons of great stores, and I enjoy all of those. The other thing I love is that sweater dresses are in. I love sweater dresses. They're one of my favorite things. I actually, because I'm always cold, I'll put a sweater on top of it, but I like how you don't have to. It's easy. They're cute. They have many different colors and patterns and designs, and you don't have to, it's not like a skirt. You don't have to match the top. It's just one piece. You throw it on, and you can throw a sweater over it, or a scarf, or whatever you like, and accessorize it. So I love the sweater dress. And I also love this new trend on TikTok, and I've seen it, and I don't know if you've seen it, Court, on how to repurpose your clothing. And I've seen it with sweaters. So these influencers on TikTok will take a sweater, they'll turn it backwards, they'll tie it around their waist, and they do some flippy things, and they put it over their head, and then the back's open. So I love all of those ideas. I'm a huge cardigan person. I'm crazy about the sweaters, and I wear them all the time. So that's something to look into, and I'm going to give that a shot as I'm getting back into some professional attire. Since COVID, I think that the location that I'm in, it's a lot of field work there, and we haven't been as concerned about, dressing up. So starting a new chapter, I got to get my professional business clothes out, and I got to shake some things up. So I'm going to try all of that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I love sweater dresses too. And my daughter actually loves sweater dresses. Over the holidays, at school, she would pick like a new sweater dress every day, as long as she didn't have PE.
That's cute. And too,
Yeah.
I love how they look with tights too. I mean, you can wear them. You actually wear them. I don't like this look, but some people wear things like that with leggings. I'm not crazy about that look, but I do like them with boots, or the ankle booties. I don't usually wear tall boots, but I like the ankle boots. But they look great with tall boots if that's your thing and you can pull it off. I just can't pull those off. I think my legs are too short.
Yeah, we're too short for the long boots.
So then let's talk about, all right, let's talk about our trends going around the world. I'm going to let you start. It's very, Courtney and I actually picked the same trend this week. So that's how influential and inspiring the trend is. So Court, why don't you introduce it and give your thoughts on it, and then I'll segue into mine.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Maya Angelou because she is the first Black woman to appear on the United States Quarter. She was a writer and a civil rights activist. People have been talking about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill for quite a few years now. So ever since people started talking about that, I've wondered why a person of color or just a woman in general hasn't been on any U.S. currency. So I was really happy to hear that she was on the quarter this week. Although it doesn't provide any solution to racism in America, I know that representation is important to people of color. So it is definitely a step in the right direction. I've been a fan of Maya Angelou since I was in middle school. She seems to have a quote for every, rough thing that I'm going through in life. So here is one of my favorite quotes by her. It is, "Each one of us has lived through some devastation, some loneliness, some weather superstorm or spiritual superstorm. When we look at each other, we must say, I understand. I understand how you feel because I have been there myself. We must support each other and empathize with each other because each of us is more alike than we are unalike." And I just love that. It just reminds me that, everyone is going through something, and, everyone just wants the same thing in life. Everyone wants to be happy and successful and healthy. So we need to all treat each other with empathy and kindness.
I agree. So I also want to point out that there were some other women on coins. I think Susan B. Anthony was the first, and then we had Sacagawea, and I also believe we had Helen Keller at one point. So, but Maya Angelou is the first woman of color. So we got to interrupt our live broadcasting. Maddie is listening and watching so intently. Give Maddie a shout out, please. She is saying, "Hi, mommy," every minute. So hi, Maddie.
Hi. I love you. I miss you.
So that's great. So I want to talk a little bit about Maya Angelou too. She has been an influential person in my life. There's one thing I don't like about the quarter, and I don't know if you know this, Courtney, but she is on the back of the quarter, and George Washington is still on the front of the quarter. And I think that's causing some controversy. I believe the quarter went into circulation on Monday, and there's some controversy because George Washington was a slave owner. But of course, that was the history at the time. So they're saying that it's inappropriate for him to be on the front and her to be on the back. But the reality is, regardless of who's on the front, I'm not sure why he has to be on the front of any coin when there's going to be a woman on it. I believe that she should have the coin all to herself. And the same with the subsequent coins. I believe Sally Ride is going to be on the coin. Astronaut Sally Ride will be coming up on the coin. And there's going to be other subsequent women coming up. So I think if we're going to put a woman on a coin, let's take George off and put a woman on a coin. That's my impression of that. And of course, in addition to all of the things that she did, I have some favorite quotes as well. And I think that this ties into women. She wrote 7 autobiographies in her time. But she wasn't perfect. And some of the things that I love, she dispensed her wisdom in interviews. She was Oprah Winfrey's mentor, who is, I believe, not a mentor, but certainly influential in my life. But I think that some of the things, she reminds us of our own value. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." I think that is so true and poignant. She also said, I love this one, "When someone shows you who you are, believe them the first time." And that's a mistake I often make. I give people chances time and time again. And I found she's 100% right. I don't always follow that. And I do believe how I do believe it, I think, but I still I still give them power and influence in my life. She was, and I don't know if you know this, Court, but she was a prostitute and a madam in her early life, so she was not perfect. And she's at the time she said, "I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better." She chronicled those early experiences in her 1974 memoir, Gather Together in My Name. And I want to tell you some of the things that she said about that. She did it. She wrote the book, she said, because she realized that history is not perfect. So symbols and books and stories from times that were less than perfect still hold some value, particularly in teaching future generations what not to do. She said, "I wrote about my experiences because I thought too many people tell young folks I never did anything wrong. I have no skeletons in my closet. In fact, I have no closet." They lie like that. And then young people find themselves in situations and they think, "Damn, I must be a pretty bad guy. My mom or dad never did anything wrong." They can't forgive themselves and go on with their lives. So I wrote the book, Gather Together in My Name. She went on to do many great things, but wanted people to know that she wasn't always perfect. And apparently she didn't care what other people thought about her past indiscretions. So I love that because, I've spoken about this before. I was raised in the Catholic Church, and, sin was such a, we were taught that sin was horrific. And of course, some sins are horrific, but, we had to go to confession. We had to confess our sins. And I carried guilt for any little minor transgression because that's exactly what you're taught to believe, that, everybody is the good people are those without sin and the ones that go to church, when in reality we all make mistakes and everybody has sin. And I don't even like to classify it as sin. Everybody has transgressions. That's part of the learning experience. And had I knew then what I know now, I know for a fact I would have been a much different person. That's not to say I'm unhappy with the person that I am now, but I think that I would have had more opportunities and I would have been less harsh on myself. And I would have been able to choose this path at a much earlier age. And, there's a lot of time that's gone by. Of course, part of me believes that things are meant to happen for a reason. So it's hard. You can't love yourself if you hate any part of your journey, but it does make me second guess. I wish there are many things I know that I knew in the yesteryear that I know today.
Yeah, I feel that way also. I'm sure, everyone feels that way at some point.
So I want to close it out, this segment, but I want to talk about some of the 3 positive quotes that she said, 3 of my favorites. And this is really about self-love. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. So I love that. And then it's about love. And these are 2 they're almost on opposite sides of the coin, since we're talking about coins, but never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. And I've made that mistake many times in my life. And then at the same time, that doesn't mean don't give up on love. She said, have enough courage to trust love one more time and always one more time. And that's something that I do too. So I love all of those things about Maya Angelou.
I do too.
All right, so now let's throw it to you. Let's jump into Courtney's Corner. What do you have for us?
So today I wanted to talk about balancing our life. So we're all balancing and juggling priorities, whether it's balancing work and school or family and work, or family and friends. We're all super busy. So I have 5 tips to help you find balance in your life. The first one is identify your priorities. Something I do every Monday is I like to make a list of a few things that are important to me for that week. You can do this monthly if that works best for you. Making a list can help you focus your time and energy on the things that are most important to you. The second thing is focus on one thing at a time. You can't be efficient. You won't be as efficient if you try to multitask. That's something that I have a problem with. I'll be doing one thing and then I'll think, oh, I have to do this also. So I'll try to do them both at the same time. And it just ends up slowing me down. You can try time blocking to help you with that, which is where you say, okay, from 2 to 4, I'm going to answer emails. And then from 4 to 5, I'm going to, work on this project. So that's something that can help you stay on task. The third thing is I highly recommend writing all of your meetings, events, and goals in one place where you can see them. I recently got a 2022 planner from the Target Dollar Spot. Other people use apps on their phone, whatever works best for you. But I find that writing down what I need to do really helps me organize my thoughts and understand what I need to get done. And the last thing is don't be afraid to say no and be mindful of your time because it is the most valuable resource that you have. And communicate your priorities to your friends and family. It's important to tell your loved ones where you are in your life, especially if work or school are taking up more of your time, and then tell them that you love them. That way they will know that just because your time is more limited doesn't mean that you love them any less. So I hope that helps somebody. I hope somebody can take those a couple of those tips and incorporate that into their routine. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi,
Hey.
Kathleen.
Hi.
So
Sorry.
I know we started late. We had some technical difficulties, so you missed some of our segments, but not all.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So, our topic of the month is saying something nice to somebody. I love your shirt. You're looking very stylish.
Thank
it looks
you.
like one of those
I know
shackets
it looks like a shacket.
That was one of our fashion finds for the week. So you're right on point.
Finally. Perfect.
So before we throw it to you, I love all of your tips, Court, but I like writing out the meetings. And I want to tell people that's something that I do all the time to myself is that I do it with links. I do it with videos. I do it with anything that I want to keep track of. I just text it to myself and then I have it all in one spot and I'll catch up later because we always have our phones. And so it's something that even if I just jot down one word and text it to myself, it'll trigger me later to write down what I want in a full scope because I don't always have paper and pen with me. So, but I always have my phone. You know how that goes.
I love that idea. My husband does that, except instead of texting it to himself, he texts it to me. And then I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, so tell him to text it to himself.
Yeah, I do. Or put it in his notes. And he's like, no, I just sent it to you. I'm like, whatever.
So Justin is saying that's all good advice, Courtney. So thank you. And he's saying Kathleen the goat, which of course we all know means the greatest of all time, arrived.
Wow, thank you.
So Kathleen, what do you want to talk about? We catch up. Well, I know you said you're prepared, so we can go back to any of the segments that you want. We didn't get to. I'm going to be talking about. I'll give you a tip off. The next segment is Tierney's Tidbits, and I'm going to be talking in depth about Bob Saget and really what he meant to me and my family, and really about friendships in general. So if I don't know if you want to segue into that or go back to any of our earlier topics. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not sure if you've already talked about fashion finds and trends, but I was looking that up today and I was really taken aback a little bit that neon's coming back for 2022. I was like, oh no, not neon. But just so you know, neon's coming back in 2022. So you're going to see a lot of that coming in soon. And also dark wash jeans. They're also coming back. I know we just got into the light wash, so I don't know how dark wash is going to be here, but that's what I'm hearing. That's what's coming in the future.
So we talked about
trends. Did you know that baby boomers are all retiring now? I mean, I feel like I'm old, but there's a lot going on in the work world, right? So I was reading that 1 of 5 people in the country are working from home now, whether it's full-time or part-time. And that's the way of the world, moving forward. I know for myself personally, I love working from home. I'm actually permanently working from home at the moment. I mean, that's always subject to change, but I certainly love it. And I think Omicron or whatever, however you say it, is probably pushing more employers to move to working from home. So the work situation or work environment is changing a lot. And the other part about working environment is there's been so many people that, you know, you used to be a lifer at your job, right? No matter where you worked, you were a lifer. And that's just changing to the opposite effect, right? A lot of people are hopping job to job to job to see what, you know, differences they see and what maybe may work better for them. So it's just a lot of change in the work environment.
Agreed. So for someone, you know, originally well, of course, when COVID first hit, I was allowed to work from home, and then we were called back into the office and weren't allowed to telecommute at all. So that was really it was a very, very difficult transition. But in some respects, working from home wasn't healthy for me. You know, I gained weight during that time. I think I became depressed in many regards. Because I had been so active and exercising, it kind of threw my whole routine off. So there were many benefits to it, but there were some detriments too. And I think that then going back to the workforce actually was good in some respects. I didn't want to do it 5 days a week. And then my office allowed us to telecommute one day. So that was actually beneficial and I enjoyed that. And now they're transitioning to 2 days and I'm leaving. And I'm actually, and exactly what you said, I mean, I had been at the same organization for 25 years. I didn't think I would ever leave. I did 4 years ago. And now I'm leaving there and I'm making an entirely different transition. And now I'm going to back to an environment that is zero telecommuting. So we'll see how it goes. You know, it's going to be a tough transition, but I think I was talking to Courtney. It is interesting when we're talking about the fashion finds. You know, when I'm working from home, the only fashion I'm concerned with are my pajamas. You know, we're not on camera. So do I have clean pajamas or sweatpants for the day in case somebody comes to the door? So I think there's something to be said. I have a closet full of clothes that, you know, I'm looking forward and Erin's back on there and she said, you're not leaving me. So, you know, unfortunately I am leaving her and we're both sad about it. We worked together for the last, 8 years. So it's going to be a big transition for me. That is a big loss for me. And I'm going to talk about that next when we get into the Bob Saget segment. So I love all of those points. I see validity to all of it. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the professional environment evolves as we move forward into the next decade, because I believe, and the experts have said, that COVID's probably going to be around until 2025.
Agree.
Wonderful.
Yep. So we'll see, which is, and we should talk about that a little bit next week, but I think I do want to talk about that next week. I really want to talk about the impact COVID is having on childhood. So let's be one of our teasers for the week. That's an in-depth conversation, and I don't think we have time for it today because we still have to get into our few more segments. But so I want to talk about that. And Erin, you know, Erin's one of my dearest friends, one of my best friends, and you know, when I think that we were all shocked again. We had another major loss in the entertainment world, Bob Saget, and Erin and I. We used to get up at midnight. And I don't know if you guys were, my kids, when Full House, obviously they weren't around when Full House was first shot. I remember watching it in my childhood, but then it came on at Nick at Night. And for probably, I would say 5 years, we watched Full House every single night. For however long it was on Nick at Night, that's what my children watched. And it just really was a wholesome, you know, there were many corny aspects to it, but it was just a funny, good-hearted show. Then Netflix picked up Fuller House because it became such a, you know, it was trending worldwide. Everybody was watching it. Justin's saying Full House is amazing. So, and when the seasons came out, believe there were maybe five seasons of Fuller House. And we actually didn't see the last season, but for the first 4 seasons, because my kids, you know, got older and every year there would be like a year-wide gap or something like that. But Netflix would release it at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would be 12 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, so we would set the alarm for 3 a.m. My children and I would get up, and they would release all episodes for the entire season. So we would spend like 2 or 3 days just watching every single episode, and so we really were attached. And I think that when you hear, and anybody who has read about Bob Saget throughout the years, really just became attached to him. He seemed to be the leader of that. He was the leader on camera, and he seemed like the leader off camera. And I think that, when he passed, I think it was very shocking in some respects. That, first of all, the event was shocking. But, so often in Hollywood, you have these people who are on sitcoms and they really don't care about each other. And it really, just the reactions of the cast and crew, I thought were so endearing and touching. And it really spoke to the fact that they really were as tight knit as they portrayed themselves to be. And I agree with this. Just as saying John Stamos is one of the GOATs as well. I agree. And many of the co-stars spoke out. John Stamos said, "I am broken. I am gutted. I'm in complete and utter shock. I will never have another friend like him. I love you so much, Bobby." And Lori Loughlin said, "Bob was more than my friend. He was my family." Dave Coulier. And Aaron and I actually got to meet Dave Coulier at the Comedy Works a few years ago. He was a very sweet man. And my heart is broken. I love you, Bob. You're forever, brother, Dave. And I don't know if anybody watched the show. Jodie Sweetin was, and Aaron is saying, remember when I was BFFs with Dave Coulier? Yes, Dave Coulier actually gave me some extra attention at the show. I think he might have had a crush on me. I don't know what you think, Aaron, but that was a lot of fun. But I think Jodie Sweetin, and I don't know if you remember, she was Stephanie, and she went through a lot of difficulties in her life between the end of Full House and the beginning of Fuller House. And she wrote, and she had a huge statement, and I'm not going to read it all, but there was one part that I was particularly fond of, and she said, "There aren't enough words to express what I'm feeling today, nor are they big enough to capture even a slice of who he was. One thing I do know is that we never missed a chance to tell each other I love you. Every time we talked, there were at least 3 or 4 exchanged at the end of a conversation, whether it was text, phone call, or in person. And he usually had to have the last word. I love you more." And she concluded, "But you were supposed to be here longer. How rude." So I don't know if anybody remembers, but that was her classic line on the show. And Justin, Mary Kate, and Ashley did say something that I don't have their comment here, but they did say how distraught they were as well, and they praised him. Everybody said he was the nicest, kindest man in the world, and so this resonated with me for many reasons. And Jodie Sweetin's is because I was waiting for her response, because I knew how much she meant to him. And she did not release her statement until the following day. And I was looking for it. And in the meantime, I had gone to Walmart. I was looking for, I needed one more Valentine's Day decoration. And Courtney will attest, I decorate all for every holiday, most holidays. And I just wanted one more thing. And I found this cute little house, and on it, it said, I love you more. And that's something that I say. And then I got home and I read her statement where he said, I love you more all the time. And it just spoke to me. And I love that part of it. The cast came together and said 35 years ago, we came together as a TV family, but we became a real family. And now we grieve as a family. Bob was a brother to us guys, a father to the girls, and a friend to all of us. And I think that that's so poignant to me, because friends are often become the family we choose. Friends are become as important to us as our families. And I think about like my friendships at work. I mean, think about the people that you work with. And that speaks to another reason why telecommuting is in some ways at a disadvantage, because many of my closest friends are people that I've worked with throughout the course of the last 20 years. And we spend 40 hours a week with them. And then they're so important, and there are many people in my family, and nobody here on the screen, I'm not speaking out about anybody here, but other people in my family who you know, I could do without their company, but there are so many of my friends that I would never want to let go, right? And we're born into families, but we also create families as well. So, and then and then Justin has asked me many times, and I do want to respond. Am I a Lori Laughlin fan? I didn't mean that. And am I a Lori Laughlin fan? Yes, I'm a Lori Laughlin fan. And you're saying, Justin, that you don't like Lori Laughlin scandal. I don't like her for what she did. But again, we all make mistakes. And I think that that's something we spoke about earlier. And I'm not here to judge Lori Laughlin. I'm not in her shoes, and I am a fan of hers. And I think that in her moment in history, from what I know of her history, obviously we don't know her. That one mistake doesn't ever define a person. So, she paid her price, she suffered for it, and she made amends. So I think that that's a done deal. And I am a Lori Laughlin fan. What do you guys think about Bob?
I definitely agree. And I grew up watching Full House on Nick at Night. And yeah, it just makes me so sad because that was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. And it was nice to see, a like big whole family coming together and, figuring stuff out. And yeah, it just made me really sad.
And not only that, they weren't a traditional family. And I think that spoke to many people. They weren't the regular sitcom with the mom and dad and the 4 cute kids, regardless, the Cosby Show was that model. Family Ties was that model. All the sitcoms of that time had the 2 parents. You really didn't see anybody where, the mom died. And they also had a struggle. They also struggled through that. They addressed that. There were times when DJ was suffering with the loss of her mom, or Stephanie and Michelle never knew her mom. And they always spoke to those things. And I think that was really important for the American consciousness and the younger population to see that families aren't always perfect. And I think that resonated with some of the young fans out there in the world today, or back then.
Definitely.
And I don't know what you, before I'll let you comment, and then I'm going to close it out by, John Stamos's final statement. And I'm sure it's not final. I'm sure he'll speak to it again, but I just loved, and I don't know, well, I'll throw it in there now. And then Kathleen, tell me what you think about it. He wrote a statement and saying, he wasn't ready to say goodbye to him. And he said, I'm going to imagine him out there, still on the road, doing what he loves with all his heart and humor. He's standing on stage, killing it. Another 2-hour set in front of a couple of hundred of the luckiest people on the planet. And he said he's going to envision his last moments on his way back to his hotel. He calls his beautiful, loving wife, Kelly. He says he feels 26 again, alive. He tells her that he loves her with every bit of his heart. And when he gets to the hotel to put his head on the pillow, he misses his daughters, his family, his friends. God, he loves us all so much. And he goes to sleep dreaming of when we'll all meet again. And he's smiling. I know in my heart he's smiling, still hearing the laughter from a few hours before. And then that's when he said, and I'm just not ready to say goodbye yet. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. So I just think, I love to hear about people who are kind and well-loved and revered for what they've done, good in the world. And I think that we saw that with Betty White too, but the difference I think this time is that Bob Saget really had such a family surrounding him, where Betty didn't, she had no children. She had no, she chose a different path in her life, and they're both endearing characters, but both heartwarming stories in different respects.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to say really about Bob Saget is he certainly has passed away at way too young of an age this day and age. And it reminds me of my mom's death, so it does make me super sad. My mom passed away when she was 60 and he was 65. And he just had so much life to live, and it's, very, very sad. And like you said, it was a family, and he seemed like a genuinely nice and just a nice guy. And I think he was around here recently in our area. doing a show. But
It's too bad.
I know I'm pretty sad I didn't go to it because that would have been really nice. But yeah, may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. And you bring up a good point too, Kathleen, that he died way too young, and your mother did as well. But I think that my opinion is that, and of course we don't know for sure and we're speculating, but the expectation, I believe, is that, his family had a history of heart disease, and the expectation, I think, that people expect that it's going to come back, that he had a heart attack. And I'm just going to encourage anybody, oftentimes when you get to be middle age and you because we always feel so invincible, but if you do have a history of any type of heart disease, and even if you don't, we just want to encourage people to get your physicals, get an EKG and all of those things, get your heart checked, because there are many silent killers out there, and you could be carrying around something, and a little bit of proactive care could really be the remedy to save your life and prolong it. So I just want to encourage people, because that's something that I've been remiss about during COVID, because nobody wanted to go to the doctor. And, I haven't had a physical in probably a year and a half, 2 years. I'm not sure, but it's something that's always on the back of my mind and something I should be doing. So that might have to be the challenge for me this week, to schedule some of those appointments that I haven't
I challenged you that last week.
You did?
Job.
Oh, I forgot. All right. I mentioned that last week too. That's why it's on my mind.
I need to do that too. I haven't had a physical since the last time I was pregnant. So
yeah, Courtney.
Girl, you
Courtney
need to
froze.
get to the doctor.
I know.
One of the radio hosts around here, Quentin Quintera, he had posted today actually about having his colonoscopy, saying, pray for a clean colon. And I just saw before I signed in that the doctor told him if he had waited 5 more years, it would have been too late. So you got to get out there and get your,
I have had that. So.
And he wasn't expecting it whatsoever. And none of us are. So get out there, get your colonoscopies, your mammograms, your physicals are so important for you and your children.
Agreed. And then, Justin is saying he's changed his mind. He's saying, yeah, Lori Laughlin is amazing. So I'm glad we changed your mind, Justin.
Good job, Justin.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate that you're open-minded and listen to what we had to say. All right. So I'm going to throw it to you, Kathleen. What are your thoughts? I mean, we're still working on, our consultations, our calendar. Courtney and I are still booking up that. So if anybody's interested in meeting us one-on-one, next week we'll put the link out. We're probably going to do some, we were kind of remiss about that last weekend, and we had some snow here and some ice, and we didn't get together like we said we wanted to finalize our final pieces. But before I throw it to our table topics in honor of the gift that Aaron gave me, and I already picked the card for this week, you can't see it, but what do you guys think? Are there anything else you want to say about any of the topics that we've already discussed?
No, the only other thing I was going to bring up is favorite hygiene products, and because I'm addicted to flossing my teeth, so
we talked about that. I am too. Go for it. I'm always interested in that.
So I am literally addicted to Spearmint ribbon floss, and I've been doing it 10 times a day. So just reminding everybody to floss your teeth to save on the dental bills. And the other thing I was going to say is I am addicted to cherry blossom soap. So those are my 2 hygiene products. So just wondering what your guys' were. That was all.
Is it a bar soap or a liquid soap?
It's a liquid soap. Cherry blossom. It's amazing.
Is it like Bath and Body Works?
No, it's just a Walmart. Not Walmart brand, but Suave has one and Jergens has one.
I'm going to try that. I love anything that smells good.
It smells amazing, and it's cheap. And I got that idea from my Aunt Eileen. So
perfect.
I'm pretty sure it was my Aunt Eileen. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was all I had to talk about your favorite hygiene.
I love that. I love cherry blossoms. So, all right. So let's segue into our next segment. And of course, that's honoring women from history and today. And well, we can honor men as well if anybody comes to our consciousness. But this week's card is Nora Ephron. And I don't know if you guys know who she was. She was the writer, director, and producer of films, including Silkwood, When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, and Julie and Julia. Some of those movies I really love. Some I haven't seen. I didn't see Julia and Julia. The rest I've seen. You've Got Mail wasn't my favorite, but I loved When Harry Met Sally. I liked Silkwood. I thought that was really a significant movie and one that was groundbreaking in that regard. And then we had Erin Brockovich that followed. She didn't do that one, but Silkwood I think set the stage for that. And she said, I try to write parts for women that are as complicated and interesting as women actually are. So I love that. And because, for many, many years, women were in bit parts in movies. They weren't they were the co-stars. They weren't the stars of movies. And some of those movies that she wrote, Sally Field was just phenomenal. Sally Field was, I believe Sally Field was in Silkwood. Sally Field was phenomenal in that. She's phenomenal in everything. But Meg Ryan, I liked her in both When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. Those are two great movies as well.
Wasn't she in You Got Mail too, Meg Ryan?
She was, but I didn't love that one as much.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that wasn't one of my favorites. And Julie and Julia, I'm not even sure. I didn't see that at all. But in those movies might be before Courtney's time. But Nora Ephron really was a groundbreaker. And if you haven't seen When Harry Met Sally, it's a good one. You should watch that. Sleepless in Seattle too. Those are two good ones. And then I wanted to segue into, and I'm going to speak about it again tonight. I'm going to put a plug in for my 10 o'clock show, the Bo and Joe show, where we speak about sports and diversity and inclusion. But so a groundbreaking female in history today or this week is Rachel Balkovec. I don't know if you've heard about her. She is going to be the first, it's a groundbreaking baseball coach. She is going to be coaching a team in the Yankees, the first female coach in the Yankees minor league system. So she's going to be the general manager of that team. So we're excited for her, and I can't wait to see how she does, and I can't wait to see how the men react to her. So that'll be interesting. I think it'll be challenging for the men and perhaps challenging for her as well. And I certainly hope they overcome those challenges. So I think that's something important to talk about.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. We used to have, and Derek Jeter started out in the minor league team here in our area. It would be great if she was here, but I don't know. We don't have a team anymore, but I would love to see that. My challenge to you guys last week was to learn something new. How'd you do?
I did not do well. So Courtney,
I did not learn anything new, but I did get that planner from Target.
All right. Well, you learned there was something new for sale in the planning section of Target. That's good.
Right. I learned how to plan.
All right. I don't know if I learned anything new, but I remembered something very important. And this is, I used to travel all the time for work. And I remember, I took a company vehicle to an outing and to a trip and a couple hours away. And the car ran out of windshield wiper fluid. And I stopped at the only grocery store I could find. We put the windshield wiper fluid in and then went on our way, and it did not work at all. It was horrific. It froze on the windshield and we couldn't understand what was wrong. And so this week I ran out of windshield wiper fluid, and I stopped today at the store. And when I picked up the jug, I remembered that I had learned at that time that the windshield washer fluid you're using has to be rated for negative temperatures. So I knew enough to get the one that said is effective with negative 20-degree temperature. So I did remember something that I learned the hard way. So I'm going to give myself credit for learning something new, even though it was a long time ago. I remembered that I learned something new.
I love it.
I love it too.
Thanks for the reminder, because I didn't know that, but I might not have remembered it when I needed to.
Yeah, I'll never forget it now after that trip. Pepsi out of the passenger side works just as good. All right, that's good to know too. That really sounds, Pepsi, I guess, can withstand negative 20-degree temperatures too. We might have to try that. And I don't know if Aaron was with me on that trip. I don't know who was with me, but I know somebody was with me, and then two other people were following the car. I think it was our friends Katie and Jody, and I'm not sure who was in my car with me, if it was Aaron or not.
They were hoping they
Oh,
weren't.
yeah,
They
she
were
said it
wishing
was
it wasn't
Aaron.
in your car.
It was Aaron, and she said that's how we clean the windshield with the Pepsi. I forgot that. Oh, that is a riot. And I knew we had to do something. I didn't know what. And we were on the highway too. It was Aaron. Oh, that's probably my favorite trip. I can't remember. I can't believe I didn't remember it was you. That's why it was my favorite trip. So perfect. All right. And so what was your challenge to me and the doctor? I didn't do well on that. So we're not gonna get into that, but I will take that challenge for next week. What are we gonna talk about next week? We could do festive foods. Or we could do financial fitness. Let's do financial fitness because, those Christmas bills will be coming in.
Don't remind me.
So we can talk about that. All right, so financial fitness. All right, so let's close it out. What are your closing thoughts? What else do you want to do? Or what are some challenges we should just carry over the challenges from this week to next week because we didn't do them. Let's learn something new again, really this time, and I'm going to try to make some of those appointments.
Me too.
And before I fill my windshield washer fluid, I am going to throw some Pepsi on it and see if that works. Do you have any challenges, Kathleen, or you just want to stick with those two?
I was hoping to learn a new fact every day, so maybe we can come up with a new fact of the week. Maybe
Okay.
next week if we could all come up with a new fact.
All
I
right.
don't know what mine will be, but
We'll put that on our list. Or why don't we wait for that? For that could be our topic of the month in February.
okay.
That's
Sounds
a
like
good
a
Right?
plan.
Because we need.
February.
And then I want to do two things in that. Let's do that. The fact of the week in February, and it's all F's. I love that. February facts, and then we can say it's also going to be Black History Month. So I think that when we use the cards, we'll celebrate. I'll find cards and we'll celebrate Black women in history and American history. And Kim's saying it's also going to be tax time soon, so financial fitness is a great topic. Thank you. I agree.
Good point.
All right, so I think that's all we have for tonight. We're 10 minutes over, but we started 10 minutes late. I'm glad you got on, Kathleen. Thank you to all of our listeners and viewers. Thank you, Aaron and Becca and Ryan and Jake. I don't know who's awake over there. And Kara, of course, we have Justin. We have Kimberly, Maddie, and Melanie. Hi. Good night, Maddie and Melanie. Mommy will be there soon. We also had, who else did we have on? I don't recognize everybody's names, but anybody who's watching, we appreciate you tuning in. It was a great commentary. We had a great show. And of course, we got Chris P. Bacon behind the scenes. He's our main man behind the camera and oftentimes in front of the camera. So I give a shout out to my own shows, but Chris is in front of the camera on many, many shows on the network. So check him out. He has his own football podcast. He's oftentimes on Sports Minute. He's a part of the Four Bros radio show. So, he's not always, you can't see him on this show, but there are many, many times when he's out there in front of the camera. So he's an integral part of the network. So I always want to give him a shout out and say something nice about him, because if anyone deserves it on this network, it's Chris P. Bacon. So everybody check him out all over Coast to Coast, and we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.